People have told stories of the strange and supernatural for centuries. Tales of the restless dead return to haunt the living. Whispers of damned souls doing the devil's bidding on Earth. Rumors of inhuman things that still hunt the old forests, untouched by the glare of modern life. There may be more to these stories than you could ever imagine. Join us tonight as we delve into the deeper truth inside these mysteries.
Okay, here we go. Hello, and welcome to the Realm of the Supernatural podcast. I'm Andy Macker.
And I'm Lee Solway.
How the devil are you all?
And we hope you've had a fantastic Christmas time or holidays.
No, Lee. Happy winter solstice.
And that as well.
Yeah, of course.
Well, the nights are drawing out now. So
they are now, yes,
so
absolutely.
It's all good.
It's all good. And the weather's not too bad, is it, really? Well,
not here, no.
Well, we don't get our bad weather until, what, mid-January?
Yeah, we tend not to get a lot of snow, do we?
No, not really.
It's not good for the kids because they want to build a snowman and shit, don't they?
It doesn't last anyway, does it? Snow down here.
Anyway, I've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. Oh, just, Bella says to me the other day, she says, Daddy, I like the white ghosts, but I don't like the black ghosts. They're not very nice. What do you reckon that means?
Strange.
Yeah.
White ghosts. So obviously your daughter sees white ghosts.
She said the white ghosts are alright, but she doesn't like the black ones.
I've seen, yeah, usually with the black ones, there's no shape. Is it the white ones you can see the faces, and maybe the black you can't see any features. Maybe it frightens them maybe a bit more.
But she's not overly concerned, like, but just a weird thing for her to say out, and random.
I mean, when I was little, when I was getting older, I just saw outlines, negative outlines, and they did freak me out because I couldn't see any features.
Yeah,
where you could see normal people, which I didn't know what was ghosts. I do know now, but not at that time. But when you see negative outlines with no features, that does freak you out because you can't actually see what they are, and what their eyes or anything like that. So,
yeah, weird. Right, so this is from Jacko. He sent us an email regarding remember we was talking about what we've seen on the A180, the ghosts or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And he said that listening to that reminded him of an event that happened to him. He says it was a few years ago, it was 1999, and he was driving home around 10:30 one night in the summer, so it was a nice clear evening, okay?
Yeah.
He said he came down the road and there was a dip before it rises uphill again. As I came round the bend, in the dip, there was a ghostly figure of an old man, in a flat cap, and an old-fashioned working donkey jacket. Remember the old donkey jacket?
Yeah.
He says, I appeared to drive straight through it and felt a horrible feeling as I did so. He looked directly at me. 5 minutes later, I'm home, and the first thing my mum says to me is, "Are you okay? You look like you've just seen a ghost."
So you didn't break then, Jacko?
He said,
he's carried on going.
I think I have, was his reply.
Yeah, right.
He says he's obviously still now, 20 years later, almost, go down that road 3 to 4 times a week, and nothing ever since or before. And again, like mine, it was just a one-off thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't usually go back on the 62 because I work down south now, but I mean, I go on that road now and then, and nothing to me has occurred like that again, so maybe it's just a one-off. I mean, you've got to be there on the right time, at the right date, at the right place. So.
Right, and Raymond sent me a story.
Yeah, go on, Raymond.
It's entitled Santa Came Early to Aberdeen.
Ah,
okay.
Santa.
I give you the headline. It's Find the Bastard Who Shut Down My Chimney. Homeowners Flu Poo Horror. It says householder Mike Williams is furious after a foul-bowled hooligan unloaded a big steamy shit down his freshly swept chimney. Carpet fitter Mike had been looking forward to making his first real fire of the year as temperatures took a turn south in his home city of Aberdeen. But those plans went down the drain after a young, unleashed a plop down the flue, which landed with a nasty splatter in the grate. Mike, 34, raged I was just getting home from work when a neighbour ran up and said they'd seen a wee knee. That means a ruffian.
A ruffian.
Shutting down my chimney.
Oh dear, so he's been a bad boy this year, have you? That's all you deserve.
He's even taken a wee photo of it on his phone. This is the neighbour. He's took a photo of it. It's on here. I'll put it on the Hangout.
What's he doing upon there?
He says, when I opened the door, the smell was incredible. The wee bastard shit has landed right in the grate and it's all over the place. It's all on the rug in the front of the fire. There's no way it'll brush out. Ooh, fucking hell.
New carpet job, that.
Yeah. What the hell am I going to do? What the hell am I going to say to the insurance? Fuck! He says, I need shit down the chimney. If I get my hands on him, the little bastard, I'll kick him in the arse so hard he'll never shit again. Apparently, a source at the Grampian Police said the crime was unpleasant and unusual. So
he wants a crap. So he's going to open a roof.
Well, he's obviously got an issue with, unless the guy's just deranged anyway. But he's obviously it sounds like he's got an issue with that fella, doesn't it?
Oh, well, he's got something, hasn't he?
Or he's got an issue with the chimney sweep.
He wasn't dressed up as Santa, was he? He just a normal ruffian. Oh, right, okay.
No, just the bog standard. Right.
Okay.
So today we're talking UFOs.
Yes, definitely. We found some good cases, didn't we?
Yeah, we've got like a batch of them, really good ones in one go, haven't we? And we're looking at another one. So obviously we're going to have to break it up a bit. I don't think we can do 4 in a row.
No.
But we'll do this one today. Yeah. Probably put one on Patreon as well, and then I think we'll do something else, and then do another one, maybe. But so this one is
the Westall High School Secondary College. This one again is in Australia, 1966. So I was just born. I was April, so I'd only be a month old.
Well, that year is quite significant for UFOs in general. I mean, the amount of UFO sightings between sort of 66 to 67, 68, that's that period there. It's just unbelievable. So so much was going on at that time.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if you believe in UFOs, obviously.
Oh, which I do. If they're not ours or...
well, I mean, as in the alien kind, not...
Yeah. Again, a lot's been said about this one.
But I think
the real UFOs, which don't have to abduct and stuff like that. They're the governments and other lower beings. The higher beings, they don't need to do that. But again, this is a classical case and a true event. I mean, I've delved right into this. I've even gone to a girl who actually got carried away in an ambulance, didn't she? She saw it, came back, collapsed, and she went missing. Her family was just wiped off the face of the earth. Unbelievable, but again, I'll come to them soon.
So this is just an ordinary day.
Ordinary day for the students from Westall High School. Right, this was at approximately 11 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, 6th of April, 1966. Okay? Bollocks.
Yep.
Normal day for these children. They were just completing sports on the main oval when an object described as being a grey saucer-shaped craft with a slight purple hue and being about twice the size of a family car was alleged to have been seen. Witnesses' descriptions were mixed. The Andrew Greenwood, who was a science teacher on the day, told the Dandenong Journal at that time that he saw a silvery green disc. According to the witnesses, the object was descending and then crossed and overflew the high school's southwest corner, going in a southeasterly direction before disappearing from sight as it descended up behind a strand of trees and into a paddock at the Grange in front of the Westall State School. And these were primary students, by the way. Okay, so
the Grange is like a bit of wasteland, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's got
that's right.
Shrubs and trees, and
I mean,
it's just adjacent to the school.
They went out there, played games, and did all.
They went out there, had a bit of canoodling, smoking,
whatever they do. That's where they hang out.
Nowadays it'd be
whatever.
Yeah, legalise.
Yeah. After a short period, it's about 20 minutes, the object, with witnesses now numbering over 200, then climbed at speed and it departed towards the northwest. As the object gained altitude, some accounts describe it as having been pursued by the scene by 5 unidentified aircraft which circled the object. Now, that could that have been government planes? Could that be?
Well, I would imagine so. Well, yeah, because the military shortly show up, don't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's important to point out that this all starts because one of the kids runs into the school, then he starts shouting, that he's seen, and obviously Mr. Greenwood doesn't believe him, so he goes out to put him, basically.
Well, I mean, the children
right.
were playing out at the time, and they saw it. They saw it coming. The children were playing out at the time. They saw this craft come.
But because it was lunchtime.
That's right.
But at the point when Greenwood goes out and he sees it, then some other teachers and that follow him, and it just escalates from there.
Yeah.
But you're talking about hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they wanted a fleeting visit this because the children were called back in, and then after the bell went, they all ran out.
Yeah.
At playtime, bang, they went out there, and then this is where they came up. Anyway, the military people showed up in 20 minutes flat. 20 minutes, bang, all the army was there, right? Which again, you were saying it again, no insignia, Lee, no insignia, and all with a US accent,
which is very strange.
Yeah,
yeah. Because I've looked at a couple of guys who've been researching this and trying to not debunk it necessarily, but just trying to look at what actually happened, and they're sure that it wouldn't have been the proper Australian army that got there, because there's no bases close enough.
No.
Now there is a few army reserve bases in the area which they could have got from.
Yeah.
So, but then you'd be talking about locals, obviously reserves. So for them to be Americans is obviously highly unusual.
Yeah.
So that is significant, I think.
There's many videos out there, some videos that tell a story, which is quite good. Right, it is to me. They knew all about it. The army knew what was going on, and they came out bang. You know what I mean? They came out to me, and the uniforms described would seem to indicate that a few of these guys were employed by the American services. Okay, which we know about. Whoever they were, they weren't very nice. Okay. The only photos of these cameras, anything that took photos, bang, never got back. Not the film. The film was took out. The cameras, you haven't got it. It's gone.
One of the teachers said that, didn't she? She was just about to go outside, and then
a teacher had been taking a whole load of shots with a camera, and they took the lot, along with the camera itself.
They asked her, didn't they? She said, "Can we have?" And she took the film out, and they said, "No,
the complete camera." Everything, along with the camera itself. I've had the authorities steal my personal property right off my hands too, with a smug little smile. So I can. This person is one of the witnesses who actually was there at the time. Why? Westall is quite a sad tale in human terms, a result of the fierce suppression of the kids in being forced not to talk and being told in no uncertain terms that they were all nuts and that they simply didn't see what they had seen. So basically, keep your mouth shut. You didn't see. Everything you saw was imagination. Okay. Detentions were given. Interrogations by creepy government suits skilled in mental cruelty. All manner of real bullshit. Inflicting a lot of long-lasting and very unnecessary emotional and societal pain and confusion. Everybody else was suppressed, but most of the witnesses here were school children. The sources themselves, seem like a pretty sporty model, sleek, compact, and very manoeuvrable. Not to mention they're harbouring no naughty side effects for any hominin who happens to get near there. Right, again, we've had accounts, we've watched the videos and done research where they've gone near the craft, touched it, and they said it's really, you feel sick, nauseous when you get to it. We'll come to Tanya in a minute. We shared a full lot. But they made, obviously these craft were real. Witnesses saw them. They even made burnt marks on the ground and the trees as was coming down from the trees. Even the tops of the trees said were black as was coming down. Yeah. So, but all that was removed. Anyway, again, here we go. The soldiers stamping out whatever one of these things left behind the farmer's field seemed to indicate some serious concern on their part, which, again, why are they stamping out these marks?
Well, some of the kids saw...
all the dirt being taken away from these.
Well, some of the kids saw that actually, taking place, the soldiers stamping out on the ground. So they actually waited for the soldiers to clear out, and they hopped this fence. They actually said that the farmers were sort of enlisted by the military.
Yeah.
They jumped in their tractors and was sort of circling the field with shotguns to stop anybody coming in the field. Yeah. So I don't know what they said to the farmers, to get them to do that, but apparently that happened. Anyway, eventually everybody clears out and the kids stop the fence and go to where the soldiers were, and they saw on the ground what is best described as a crop circle, what we would say now, a crop circle, where they started trying to disturb it, smash it up with their feet and that, but it was just so big. You're probably talking, I would say, from their description, it's probably at least 6 to 10 feet wide, something like that. So, the soldiers started ruffling it up, but it was that flat and compressed. You can't do much with it apart from drop a grenade on it. So they basically just stamped it a little bit and left, thinking that no one would see it. But these kids obviously
did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Again, it's D. Sadike was his kid. He was another child. Well, he was teenagers, but again, 11, 12. He was actually at school at the time, Clayton bred, and he was conventionally carefree. But again, he was told, keep your mouth shut, blah, blah, mind control.
Well, all the kids were.
Everybody did.
Everybody at school was basically subjected to psychological warfare. Yeah. If you step out of line, if you mention this, draw a picture of it, tell anybody, because the teachers were really harsh on people for even speaking about it.
So this he said he had seen planes shaped like he hadn't seen any. This thing was not a plane. It was nothing. It had no tail. There was no noise. There was no pilot. He said it was recess when D spotted a disc in the sky moving east, slowly horizontally. The disc tilted on an angle and disappeared. Another kid saw it, but he refused to talk about it, and neither did D, and she was only 7. 40 years on, sitting in a doctor's waiting room, D flew glasses and said, we kept our UFO secret for 40 years. Yeah. We couldn't say anything. The secret was also D, but anyway, Sue also witnessed 3 metallic discs descend, ascend, tilt on angle, and then disappear. So all these children, do not say anything, they saw the same thing. But everything was covered over.
Well, it said that the headmaster himself was so alarmed by what was going on.
Yeah.
Because he's like the main player in keeping this silent, this squashed down the headmaster. But they said that at the time he was that worried about what was going on that he actually refused to go outside and actually witness it himself. He didn't want to know. And obviously the Australian Air Force got in touch with him and he told them to go jump in a lake. He just didn't want nothing to do with it. But he did what he was told and kept it quiet. Even his children, later on, they said that the guy was a strict guy, but he was like devout Christian. And this really, really upset him because it was at odds with what he believed. And so all these people and teachers that he knew, colleagues that he knew, were saying this did happen. We were there, we saw it. This really did throw him. But like I say, he kept it quiet. He forced, he was the main guy in, keeping this quiet. It wasn't necessarily the military. It was the teachers at the school.
Yeah, so
they all towed the line. So
they towed the line for this one. He said the older kid, when they was dragged into for recess, most of the children disobeyed it and they legged it. He says here, the older kid disobeyed and leapfrogged the fence, running hell-bent for the Grange. This is where the disc was,
where it landed.
Where it landed, right? Again, another one, Tony was told not to talk about it, but Tony told his mum. That Saturday, he took her to the Grange. An older girl, screaming and hysterical, was being dragged by her parents to where the discs landed. She clutched the ground and snatched at plants. This memory and the discs are embedded in Tony's veins, Tony's mum's too, who told their friends. Tony says his mum did not believe that children should be seen and not heard. So again, the parents was also brought into, I think, said, look, tell your children, keep quiet.
So do you think that...
Not just the teachers, I think it was the parents as well.
Yeah, well, it sounds like that girl was being dragged there too.
Yeah, so, wait, tell me.
Yeah.
To say what she saw wasn't real.
Yeah.
So parents have been involved as well.
Absolutely fucking terrifying to a child. So that's fantastic parenting.
Yeah. Again, Tony said he's quiet about his close encounter of the first kind. Tony has tolerated 51 years of disbelief. But Sue is vehement that we are not the only ones, that we are not alone. Sue's dad once told her to shut up. She's been asked, "Are you on drugs?" So again, you had the
that is the
teacher. Then you had your parents saying, "Yeah, you imagine it. You're on drugs."
That is the easiest way to to make someone, for ridicule purposes, just say that. I mean, that don't work because I mean, when you're on drugs or drink or whatever, you're on fucking drugs. You know you're on drink, and obviously, if you're on drugs, you know what's happening around you. Yeah, it's real at the time, but when you're out of it, it was just a trip. So it doesn't even make sense. But especially 200 people having a mass, this mass hysteria bullshit, what always comes into play. But the most worrying aspect of this case is what happened to Tanya.
Yeah, now this is what my favourite.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I've done a bit of digging this. I mean, this is the girl that went with, I think, was it Sue?
No, Terry. Well, yeah, there was quite a few that jumped the fence, and Tanya was sort of in the lead.
Yeah, she got there first.
Terry Peck and Jacqueline Argent, they're both on record as saying they were with her.
Yeah.
They both jumped the fence and they were slightly behind her. She was quite a quick runner by all accounts.
Yeah.
And she was weaving through the trees, getting to these discs, and she probably got there first. I think Jacqueline says that she was just rounding this sort of tree as these objects started to rise.
So we don't know if Tanya actually touched one of the discs.
Well, Jacqueline reckons that Tanya definitely said to her that she saw him on the ground.
Right.
Because she only saw him lifting up through the trees, but she says that Tanya said, no, she saw him when he was on the ground. So, and then obviously they headed back to school.
Yeah.
And then what happens next is very strange.
Well, I mean, when she got, the friends said they all went back to school, and then later on an ambulance came and Tanya collapsed. She went to the ambulance. That's it.
And never seen again.
Never seen again. Never came back. And also, I found this.
Never came back to school.
Never came back to school. But I did a bit more research and I found this, which I found absolutely frightening. Right, they can do this, right?
No, they can do this. Yeah.
Well, yeah, do it. Friends dropped by Tanya's home that evening. See how she was.
Obviously, worried about her. Yeah, where's she gone?
Yeah, well, is she okay? Is she still in hospital? We'll go and visit her. Whatever. A woman answered the door. Not the family. A woman. All right, they didn't know who this woman was. A woman answered the door, told them Tanya and her family had never lived there before.
Mm.
Oh, well, you think, well, hang on a minute, I've got the right fucking house here. I've got the right house. I've come here, played in a house, played in it. Anyway, and told them to leave and never come back. Tanya and her family were never seen again.
Mm.
Now that's... A family never saw anything. It was only Tanya who saw the discs.
But I imagine that
obviously they had to wipe one out. All had to be wiped out. Now it's frightening.
Yeah, well, you would think. I mean, if it's true, then you would think that the family are going to be pursuing this a little bit, aren't they? I mean, the child's gone missing at school. They want to know what's going on.
Yeah,
they're going to cause a ruckus.
Yeah.
So,
unless the family got changed names.
That ain't going to stop. That ain't going to stop them. I mean, you can't just change your name and that's going to stop you forgetting about your kids. So, I think they had to be probably eliminated because they were going to cause trouble for sure.
Yeah,
which is right. But again, I can see the military thinking the best way to handle this is to get rid.
Yeah,
and by all accounts, they did. But it's alarming how quickly
they can do it.
That happens. Yeah. They've got someone in the house already.
Yeah, bang, cleared it all out.
And she's got the script. What's she? How does she sleep at night?
Well, again,
where is she?
I mean, but the others their family didn't disappear. I mean, the others saw the discs on the ground, but Tanya, for some reason...
But Tanya died.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't know.
Potentially.
She got carried away in an ambulance. So we don't know if she'd caught some kind of, with the radiation, there could be some kind of radiation, she could have been poorly with it, or some kind of anything, and disease, anything from that vicinity with the UFO. So
If it's just sickness, I think the family don't get
taken
out.
Or was she taken? Was she?
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, she could have been. Yeah.
Oh, we don't know. We don't know.
But
there's another bit that also concerned me. Later on, men in uniform excavated these circular patterns. They hurled the dirt into the back of the truck. So all the dirt from that mirror, they dug it all up.
Yeah, the top layer.
Yeah, top layer. And they were not seen again. Media outlets were gagged. All right, that's it. You don't say anything. In 2013, the city of Kingston erected a playground in the now renowned Green Belt. The jungle gym is now shaped like a flying saucer. Isn't that ironic?
No.
Yeah. Something definitely went on there. A lot of children saw that. They thought, obviously, some were a bit frightened. Some were very, UFO, let's go see it. Oh, I've seen a UFO. But bang, There's no records of anybody being hurt or being attacked. Nothing like that. It was just hushed over. But we've got to think of, was they extraterrestrial or was they government? There you go.
Well, I think...
we know the government's they've got some kind of good technology.
Yeah.
Sources, they've got the source. We know that. The Germans had the bells, didn't they?
Well,
they had the bell. They had the bell UFOs. They were just basic anyway. But they had this technology. So, was they extraterrestrials that came for a visit, say hello, or was they the government?
Well, you don't know. Some of the...
Know, would you? Nothing got out I've done a lot of research, and there's nothing that's anything got out the craft. No beings when they came out. It was just they landed, they came up, come down, landed. Nothing came out the craft. Well, we don't know anyway. Not we know of.
Yeah. Well, one of the ways they tried to debunk this was saying that it was like some sort of windsock that they used to target practice. They basically, a plane flies and it tows this like windsock behind it, this balloon, and then the other planes use it as target practice. Yeah. And they reckon that came untethered and obviously, but
a saucer.
You can't.
Come on.
You can't really go along with that, can you?
If that age and you see what you see, you draw it.
I think it's easy.
I've got some pictures. I'm going to put them on a hangout, and it's up to people to have a look.
I think
the original sketching is what the children did. So I'll put them on a hangout, and then this is what they said they saw. And let's see if it was a windsock or a barrage balloon or whatever, a weather balloon, which is crap. So I'll put them on the hangout, see what you think. But I think this story, I think the most alarming is definitely Tanya. All the family going missing. That's just terrible.
Well, it just shows you, doesn't it? The cover up is in full swing.
What is the cover up for? In your opinion, Lee, why cover it up?
Well,
why?
I was listening to some ex-military talk about this, and everyone's got their own opinion on what it is, from religion to mass panic.
What would you, I understand. I get that, mate. I get that. But if people believe in God, then obviously we're not the only God-made creatures. There's other species out there. So you thought religion would kind of embrace that, It's,
well, no,
or is it my God's bigger than your God?
Yeah, it would go against. I can see that to some extent. How that might. My personal belief is that let's just say Roswell happened. Okay, so they've got this technology. They've had this technology for a long time. Some of the craft that people are seeing now are probably military craft, and they're probably using. They have to be using, power that we just don't have access to in general life, okay? Whether you want to call that 0 point energy, whatever you want to call it. But you're not just talking about a motor, because everyone can build a motor. You're talking about a power source, okay?
So you're actually talking, it doesn't need fuel. Doesn't need it.
Whatever.
You're using the energy of the Earth.
I think to travel through unlimited space, if you're carrying fuel... You can do time travel fuel. You can do it. Like these fireworks that we got now.
Yeah.
Most of your rocket is just taken up by that. And once that's gone, that's it.
Gone.
So there's got to be a way around that. And obviously, extraterrestrials come in here.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's some debate whether they're coming from another dimension or whatever.
Yeah.
It could even be coming from spaces on the Earth.
Yeah.
Middle
Earth. That's
Middle Earth,
Middle Earth.
Holes in the Earth, whatever.
Yeah.
So, there's that to get around. But my the way I look at it and the way that makes most sense to me is that I think that they've got this technology. They don't want to roll it out because obviously they don't want to tell their enemies about it. Let's just say the Americans have got it.
Yeah.
They don't want their enemies to know what they've got because then it causes a lot of heat on that particular place, espionage-wise, etc. But I also think that the big problem you've got is the whale population. I think as soon as you announce this, how's it powered? It's powered like this, and that. Right. So now we can go to Africa. We can put a well in the ground. We can put whatever. It's not going to cost us any fuel. It's gonna pump clean water. So all them people are going to be, and this is all around the world, not just Africa, but everybody's going to have access to free water, to basically whatever you want
to live.
And they don't want that because that takes the tax burden, the debt burden off people, the power of people off them, the control. It hands it to the people, and that's why they suppress it.
So
None of this other bullshit.
So it's the money men.
Yeah.
Control.
If they thought that they could use religion to control people, etc., then they would just do that. But this doesn't work because there's too many religions. So I don't buy that. I don't think the panic thing really works because people aren't that bothered, are they? So
I think this is where Tesla got killed. Because he knew how to do it, how to build it, invent it. They couldn't bottle that. They couldn't say, hang on a minute, for nothing, no chance. Go, mate, no chance. You know what I mean?
Well, that's your problem.
That's the problem.
You've got to have once you release this into the public domain, you've got to have some way of controlling people. And obviously, something could come out at some point where they find another way of controlling us. Obviously, debt is the main thing at the moment, but it'll be something else.
Also
whether we have to work for, like Minority Report, is it, where they have to work to live this kind of stuff.
Microchips. That's what they're trying now.
Well, they're out. They're done. Everyone's got a microchip. Everyone talks about
in the body.
No, but everyone talks about microchips. But every fucking person in the world, more or less, is carrying a phone around, a smartphone with them.
Yeah.
So it's done.
Yeah,
that's done.
No, it hasn't. I'm not finished yet because the next
people go to the toilet with a fucking phone.
Of course they do.
So they know where you are. If they wanted to drone strike you, they can.
The next thing is what we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a trial. We're gonna get rid of bank cards and we're gonna put a chip in your hand. So you go to the bank and you put your hand over and get your money out.
Well, I've just been watching.
That's your next one. And with these chips, they press a button and you're dead.
Well,
so you choose. They'll kill you.
Your problem there is obviously people can rise up and just stop using banks. If they wanted to. But again, I'm reading what people are putting on Facebook, etc., certain people, and talking about this next vote for this. Oh, fucking hell, Theresa May. She's let's vote this person. Talking about these dickheads in our town, right? Let's vote for him because he says he's going to fill potholes in, right?
Yeah.
Let's vote for him because he's going to fill potholes. Are we fucking safe? And you've got these aliens, all this shit, all these other countries, Belgium, all these other countries. Brazil, all these countries around the world saying that UFOs are real, we can't do fuck all about it.
Yep.
They're coming from wherever they're coming from.
Yep.
I don't think anybody knows.
I do. The government know.
Well, I don't think they do.
They do.
Well, I don't think
they do. These aren't real aliens, folks. Okay, I know people can laugh at me again. Low astral realms, yes, you've got it. And some are real, but they stay out of the way.
But the point
they're here
is
to protect us from these arseholes, these government who are absolutely. You're telling to me that they've got craft that can leave this planet and go on to other planets. Do you think really these higher beings are going to let the lunatics out the asylum?
Well, if you don't,
you got no chance.
If they don't, then we're a slave society to
no, you're not a slave.
Well, that's the way that.
No, this is
that's the way I would take that. But
you're here to learn lessons.
But the point is, you've got people worrying about who they're going to vote for, who's going to fill in the most potholes in this town, right?
Backward man.
But the key questions, like this sort of question,
this is it.
Our place in the universe, etc., etc. They're not bothered.
No, of course they're not. They're bothered. Yeah. Coronation Street.
I even heard today. I mean,
they're there watching that brainwashed by a screen.
I mean, it gets absolute. I mean, obviously, for those Americans listening, this don't really affect them so much. But
I always say, Lee, each to their own.
This leaving the European Union. Obviously, everyone's aware of this now because it's just dragging on and on and on. But I even heard this morning that more migrants have been caught. Did you hear this on the news?
I don't listen to it, mate.
More migrants have been caught coming across the channel, right, in fucking dinghies and all the rest of it.
It's allowed.
Well, whatever. The point is that there's more being that thing.
Yeah.
And do you know what they're blaming it on?
No.
Brexit. Honestly, it's like...
Yeah, but people believe that.
Yeah, I know they do.
They'll believe it.
Yeah.
Lee. They'll believe it.
Why
And they'll
don't they
say,
look?
Oh my God!
Why don't they look?
The government's told me it's Brexit, and it must be right.
Yeah, well,
It must be true.
why don't you look what's actually going on in the country of origin? Why are they leaving the countries there? Obviously, the amount of wars that we've caused and all the rest of it.
Absolutely.
The drought that's going on there, and it's been going on there for a while, and this is going to be a serious problem going forward. In the next few years, you're going to talk about millions of displaced people because of the drought. So, but to blame it on
for hundreds of years,
they're trying to blame. They're trying to get in now because they were going to leave the European. Honestly, it's just getting out of hand. It's just. But the thing is, politics, democracy is over.
Gone. There's no. You've got no choice.
The only power
you really
people
think you've got choice.
No, the only power people have got
mate.
now is not to vote. That's the only power
matter.
you've got. Don't vote for anything.
Because these people, your presidents, your prime ministers, your government, or any parliament, they're puppets. They've got no power. No power. They're just spokesmen for the media. Spokespeople. They're told what to say and what to do. And if they don't, then they're taken out.
Anyway, it was just getting on.
Taking away their
It's totally getting out of hand. You've got
packets and
people worrying about shit like that.
These beings are here.
Look at all the shit that's going on.
People need to know about it.
There's people starving. There's people dying of thirst.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely incredible. Yeah. This is 2019, more or less.
Nearly.
And this is, it's just absolutely crazy.
Again, it's. I feel so sorry for the people, but people say, "Oh, there's going to be a massive, beautiful, spiritual resonance." Nah. It's not going to happen.
No, because it's
too late.
Right.
Too late. Anyway, let's carry on, Lee, with that.
Yeah.
Let's stop the ranting. Let's carry on with the show.
So let's do this. This is what I say about, 1966. This is another case from 1966.
Okay. I was born in February 1966.
Was you?
I was only a month old. Yeah, 4 weeks old.
See, I always told you he was an alien.
Yeah, also, that time there was a big wave at the time. The waves. Some came in the 40s, a big wave in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, or wave, I was the 60s wave. You
get, massive flaps, don't you, UFO flaps. Yeah. This is kind of one, because this happens over the course of 3 days, and you're talking about quite a few places where people witness strange things in the sky. I mean, if you like... Say it started on 16th and it lasted till the 19th of November.
Yeah.
And I think 6 states were involved. I think it's Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, Kansas, and Michigan. People witnessed things in the skies over that period. So it even resulted in power failures in Michigan.
Yeah.
So
there's
something going on.
A power, somewhere the power is lost. What would cause that? Is actually the ship feeding off that power?
I mean,
you wouldn't thought
there was a famous case.
It depends on the radiation of the ship affecting the.
Well, there was a famous case in Bolton, in England, where the security guard on the night, it was a power plant out there, and security guard on the night saw this object, came in, sort of hitched up to the electric pylons, almost recharged its batteries, if you like, and then shot off back the way it came. So it's almost like it came in just into our atmosphere, if you like, just to get charged up because it was on it wherever it was going. So it's just using.
But it wouldn't leave that. It wouldn't. If it was a fantastic technological piece of equiment, it wouldn't need electric, would it?
No, but then you get cases.
It's like you going from a battery to a thing. My battery's dead. So you charge it up. You've got battery chargers now. We'll charge the batteries up. But it's just for the batteries. For a ship like that, it run on certain energy. It wouldn't need electrical energy.
That was his interpretation.
It's government craft.
That was his interpretation of what was going on, but you don't know whether it was doing something just so it could stay longer in this atmosphere for a while, or same like people see it, see ships like dropping almost like a snorkel, if you like, or a hose into the water and sort of pumping up water into the craft. And again. Is that drinking water? I mean, people think, well, it must be drinking, but is it, or is it something that they have to do to remain in this?
Possible.
You don't know, do you? You just don't know.
I mean, again, you've seen craft. I haven't. I've only seen one in my lifetime, and that was a cube, not a silver one. I saw a cube. Mine was that I asked to show themselves, and I saw a white glowing cube, not a silvery thing, and it was only for about 3 seconds. It was gone. So anyway,
so
carry your story, Lee.
Okay, so this is the Gaffney UFO, okay, and it takes place in Gaffney, which is South Carolina. This is a flap, if you like, of UFOs. It takes place between sort of the 16th and the 19th of November,
Right, okay.
1966, which is significant with the story you just told.
Yeah, well, see the wave.
Yeah.
The waves in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So, yeah.
And if you like, the flap broke out over 6 states, okay? Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, Kansas, and Michigan.
Right.
The Michigan one being quite significant in the fact that power failure was caused.
Okay.
So there was a lot of sightings going on around the area. Now, it's important to remember that, or to know that on the 16th of November, this case, which we're going to be talking about, happens on the 17th, but on the 16th, there was a meteor shower,
Right.
which was well publicised across the nation. There was even New York was going to have a Falling Stars party. This was, so everybody was looking up in the sky. But on that date, the 16th, there was no UFO reports.
Right.
So everybody was still looking up at the sky but didn't see any UFOs. So the following day, you get 17th, and then we get a UFO report. Significant because it's 2 police officers.
Right.
Okay, so obviously that gives it more credibility. I don't know why, right? Because people can make shit up. Doesn't matter what job they do, people can make shit up. But it's more credible if it comes from a police officer. So now most of this comes from John Keel, who's synonymous with sort of UFO
You wrote a few
reports.
books on it.
Yeah, books and
Yeah.
into the strange and paranormal and all this kind of stuff. So most of this comes from him. Now, he hears about it in a magazine. This is a year later. The magazine reprints an article that was out in the paper, and he reads it. He's interested,
Right.
and he goes back and finds out that this was obviously published in the Gaffney Ledger. So he sets up a meeting with the editor of the Gaffney Ledger.
Yep.
It's a guy called Jack Trulove. Gets himself down there and meets with Jack. And Jack fills him in on the story and it's basically puts him in contact with the police officer. So he sets up this meeting with the first officer on the scene, which was Officer Hutchins. Now, while John Keel's there, he actually spoke to another editor of another paper called the Gastonia Gazette, and he talked about UFO reports in the area, and he reckoned that he was getting one a day.
Right.
At least one a day, UFO reports. So this area is quite active, if you like. Although he was only printing at the time, sort of between 2 and 3 a month.
Right, okay.
So he's getting one a day, but he's only printing, 1 or 2 a month. Same with Jack Trulove from the other paper. He actually told him the same thing. He says, we get reports quite regular, but we don't print them. It's very rare we print them.
So what kind of order would you print them in?
Well, I think
unless there was multiple witnesses. Not like 1 or 2.
Well, I think there is, but I think they just keep them out because people...
So who tells the paper then to keep them out?
I think
because that's news, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
you'd sell any news to sell a paper.
I think this was his decision.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, from what Keel was saying, I don't think he was being told to do that. I think he was just leaving it out because he didn't think it was public interest. I think people... You got to remember it's 66, so people don't want to hear about this shit. People don't want to hear about it today, so they certainly don't want to hear about it.
They're too busy today with their little toys.
Even if you tell someone you've seen,
stuff and so.
That's what you've seen a UFO, you're going to get called a kook. So that's even today. So you can imagine what it was like back then.
Call me what I want. If I see what I see, that's it. Same with you, Lee. You saw it. People say to you, "Oh, yeah, I think you're a bit nutty." You'll stand by yours because you see what you saw.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people don't like, don't want that, do they?
Well, yeah. Well.
So anyway, he arranges this meeting with Officer Hutchins, right? And he meets him at the police station. He actually meets him outside. He was waiting for him, okay? And he said he actually remarks that it was quite cold. It was bitterly cold, and this guy stood outside waiting to meet him. So, sort of character he was, Anyway, he wanted reassurance at first that Keel wasn't from the government. And he'd had
right, okay.
Yeah, and after this event had happened, he'd had quite a lot of ridicule, and he'd had some strange things happen to him, where basically he stopped talking about it. Both officers involved, because there's 2 officers involved. There was Officer Hutchins and Officer Husky.
Right.
Okay, both saw this craft. So they tended, at this point, this is a year later, so at this point they're not talking about it, okay, to anybody, because of the shit that they get.
No,
so
this is the plan. See?
Well, yeah. So he wants reassurance that he's not from the government.
Yeah.
And he basically shows him his credentials, shows him some articles he's wrote on UFOs, that kind of stuff, and it sort of puts him at ease.
Yeah.
And he actually says that once he got this guy talking, he was down to earth. He actually had a good sense of humour.
Yeah.
He's just, an ordinary guy. He said it was, from his experience of police officers, Keel was saying that a lot of them are up themselves, like, self-important kind of guys. But this guy wasn't. He was down to earth, and he was easy to talk to. So he gets a recorder out, goes into one of the vacant interview rooms, sits him down and starts talking to him. He said that one of the first things he... well, I should just point out that part of the reason why he wanted to know that he wasn't from the government is because there was actually another officer in April of that year, I think it was, who had chased a UFO and basically got ridiculed that much. He got forced out of the police force. A guy called David Spear, or Dale Spear, sorry. So, and he was still...
ridicule. I mean, people see some stuff, and, well, it's not news. It is news. It's massive.
Yeah, well...
So it's...
this forcing people out as well. I mean, I was listening to some testimony from a guy who was in the military, and his commanding officer, if you like, had seen what he'd seen, and sort of off record, if you like, had gone round to his house to talk to him about it, and he just told him to get the fuck out, get the fuck out off my property. You know, this is commanding officer, and he's like, what? We both saw it, and he said, just get the fuck out. But he said, he'd been threatened, but he had no children. This guy had children. Yeah. And it's just a case of, look, if you speak about this, your kids will be found in the desert. Yeah.
That's it.
So they got control of people. Then you got the factor of, well, when you retire, you can say what you want, or when the expiry runs out, because it's like my 40-year lease, whatever. But then you've got pensions to worry about. Yeah,
this is how they do it.
And so once you're in it, you're in it. You're in it. So that's why you get a lot of deathbed confessions, because at that point you've got nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
So,
and most of them are gone anyway because they get rid of them anyway.
So that's how. Yeah. So he was obviously fearful because he's still in uniform at the time. So he was obviously fearful. But he puts him at ease and starts talking to him. He says the first thing he wanted to point out, and was that the sighting, he actually sees a craft and a fella gets out.
Right.
Okay. Now, he actually says to Keel, the first thing he wants to put straight is that the guy did not have a green complexion. Okay, the little man did not have a green complexion, as was reported in the newspaper. He said that we added that, sort of embellished it a little bit because of the ridicule they was getting. Yeah. They didn't want to say the spaceship landed and a man got out.
And so looked like us.
So
you can't have that. You can't have that, mate.
So they gave him this green complexion just to make it sound a bit more sci-fi, if you like.
Yeah.
But he said that never happened. He actually said that the guy had an ordinary complexion. In fact, it was difficult for either man to tell whether he was dark or light complexion. And that could have just been because the lighting situation or what it was, but to them, he just looked quite ordinary. His face was quite ordinary.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the time of this event, the landing, if you like, Hutchins had been in the police force for about 6 months, whereas Husky had been a policeman for 5 years.
Right.
Neither man could remember the exact date that this happened, but it's estimated that it was probably on the 17th of November, because they said that they'd seen unusual amounts of falling stars. And remember, on the 16th, or early morning, the 17th, there was that meteor shower.
Yeah.
So it's estimated that it was around 4 a.m. To 4:45 a.m.
Right.
Okay. and they was making a routine patrol along an isolated and unpopular road in a section of Gaffney known as the West Burford Street Extension. And as they came round a bend, they saw a metallic object directly in front of them, and it was descending, okay? It was about 20 feet above the ground when they first observed it. Hutchins described it as being spherical, like a ball, but with a wide, flat rim around the edge. So almost like, and actually in his drawing, it looks like Saturn.
Ah, right.
If you imagine, the typical flying saucer that we used to get.
Yeah.
Actually, that's where he drew. He said there were no visible portholes or lights. Okay. The object was completely dark, and it was reflecting a dull gold colour in the headlight from the headlights of the police car.
Right.
And this crops up time and time again. This darkness, it's metallic, but it's not reflective, which is weird, isn't it?
Well, it's a metal that we don't have.
Well, this is the thing.
Well, I don't think we have.
It says that the object had to have been 20 feet in diameter. Okay, it landed, and they were both just sat there, dumbstruck.
Right.
It says as it landed, a small door suddenly opened. Noise that makes no noise, right? This door opens and a short ladder falls out to the ground.
Strange.
Yeah.
Why a ladder?
I don't know. And then
gets better, folks.
The thing is, you don't know, do you? What
the hell does one that bloody ladder for?
You don't know what this ship is, do you? I mean, to us, it's like
teleport here and there everywhere, and they've got a bloody ladder.
To us, it's wow! Look at this thing. To the aliens in it.
Somehow the movies, isn't it? You see them, especially in the 50s. The aliens have landed.
Well, to the aliens
the invaders
in it, this could just be like a garbage wagon or something. You know what I mean? It's not even exotic to us. It's exotic to them. It's just a mundane. This is like the lowest vehicle that they've got. It's not even.
The others with the garage getting MOT'd.
Yeah. Anyway, this door opens. This ladder drops out. And he reckons that the ladder was about 4 to 6 feet long, okay?
Right.
And a white light poured out of the opening, and he said it was that bright you couldn't see into the object.
Right, okay.
Okay. Now, at this point, a figure appears in the doorway and starts to descend the ladder. He gets to the ground. Now, at this point, they're about 15 to 20 feet from the object. And he said that both officers take maybe 2 or 3 steps towards the craft.
So they get out. Obviously, they're out
the vehicle, and they're walking towards the craft. And he said we only took a few steps, so let's just say they're about 15 feet away by this point. Then the figure starts walking towards them.
Right. Okay.
He said he didn't move stiffly. He moved just like anybody else, but kind of slow, like he was taking his time. He wasn't scared of us or anything like that. He was about the size of a 12-year-old boy, maybe about 4 feet tall.
Right.
Now, it's significant, he wore no helmet or headgear and was dressed in a gold suit with no buttons or zippers. His costume was shiny like metal, and it reflected in our headlights. It was not self-luminous, okay?
Right.
We were both kind of shaky and scared. Again, he's pointing this out that they was scared. He's not.
They didn't actually.
I think
draw weapons or.
No, I think from the testimony, you get.
Someone can unclip the belt. Get
well,
ready.
you don't make reference to that, but
yeah.
Again, remember this guy that comes out looks humanish. So it's not like if you come out and he's like got 10 arms and 6 eyes, you probably would draw your weapon, or you probably do one, wouldn't you? But at this point, I think although they were scared, he says. They was that scared that they didn't really. He says we did ask a few questions, but not. If it was a normal conversation, you would have asked him what was. Obviously, but he was that scared. They let him do the talking. Okay. He says. So we let him do most of the talking. When we asked him a question, he wouldn't answer us, but just went right on talking. It's almost like he had a plan.
So
he was just going to talk. He was going to say what he had to say. And he was going to go.
Right.
So even then when they're asking questions, he's just sort of talking over him, if you like you do to me.
Sometimes.
So anyway.
I don't do that.
He says neither man can remember seeing the creature's feet. Okay, but again, it was in grass. So it's possible that the grass was just shrouding the feet.
Right.
We'll never know. Keel makes a point of making it clear at this point that this was a year later, so the guy was... some of the details were a bit foggy to him.
Right.
But where he's foggy on details, he doesn't embellish. He never says, I think it was this, I think it was that. He just says, I can't remember. If there's something he can't remember, he just says, I can't remember. He doesn't embellish the story, which I think is quite... lends more weight to it for me. Anyway, he said he couldn't remember the full context of the conversation, but it was nothing real significant. You know, like he once saying, obviously, if you come down and said, we're going to take over the world, blah, blah, you'd remember that shit, right?
Well, that's if they want you to remember it, I suppose.
Yeah, well...
Again, I mean, you wouldn't really talk to two policemen. You'd actually talk to a government officials for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
They won't give a shit anyway. Doesn't matter.
He said he talked real good, right?
Okay.
Like a college graduate. He didn't have any accent or anything like that. He acted like he knew exactly what he was saying and doing and did not make any quick moves or false moves. He stood there and talked to us. Hutchins reckons that he stammered out a question like, what are you doing here? But he said the creature did not reply, but asked a question of his own. He wanted to know why we were both dressed alike. So I guess we told him that we was police officers. He said his speech was very, very precise. He pronounced each word very carefully. I can't remember everything he said, but it wasn't anything very important. I think I asked him where he was from, but he didn't answer. He just laughed. He had a kind of funny laugh. And I've read other alien encounters where this has happened in those encounters again. People have asked the question, where are you from? And they sort of just either just laugh at them.
Or snigger.
You know what I mean? So I think that's strange why they do that. They're not going to tell you, obviously, but
no.
But it's interesting that they
I don't think they're aliens.
It's interesting that they laugh. Well, again, you know, that could be why that could be why they're laughing.
Yeah, that's right, because they know what they are, but you know they always think they're aliens from another planet, but actually they're not.
He says the confrontation was brief, perhaps only 2 or 3 minutes. The creature announced, "I will return in 2 days." He turned and walked slowly back to the ladder and climbed into the object. Wouldn't it be funny if he was climbing up and fell off?
His ladder fell off.
Yeah.
Are you in? or the door couldn't close.
Yeah, the door closed. Like fucking Spinal Tap.
You've got a big hammer on it.
But anyway, he says he will return in 2 days. He climbed back into the object, and the craft began to wear. He said it wasn't like those wearing sounds in science fiction movies. There was no screeching to it, but it was soft, like an engine with a muffler on it.
Yeah, it will be, yeah.
The object rose slowly into the air and vanished into the black sky. He said we stood there for a few minutes in silence before finally they pulled themselves together and returned to the police station.
Okay.
They returned to the site the next day with a local councilman named Hill and found several fresh footprints. The exact spot where the little man had stood. They looked like children's footprints, but obviously in them days no casts were made. It's not something
days, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, nowadays it's a little bit different, isn't it? But he says that after the story had appeared in the local paper, both men were subject to considerable ridicule, but neither one received any hoax phone calls or crank letters. He says, however, 2 weeks after the incident, strangers turned up in Gaffney and made a few inquiries and then called Hutchins from a local restaurant, and they said there were doctors of some kind, but Hutchins told me, this is Keel, I think that they were from the government or something, and by that time they was fed up with the whole thing, so they didn't want to talk to anybody, so they never met with these guys, and these guys sort of never pursued it.
Obviously, they wanted what if there was going to.
Well, they was probably going to tell him to shut up anyway, and then obviously when he's not turned up to talk about it, they probably thought, well,
they're not going to say it anyway. Yeah. We're right here. They're not going to open their mouths.
Reading between the lines, that's
well.
the sort of what I get.
Yeah.
Now, Keel actually spoke to Husky as well.
Yep. AJ
Husky was the other officer on the, and he basically said that he. Although he never met him, he just spoke on phone. He said he told exactly the same tale.
Yep.
More or less everything was the same. So but he didn't want to go into too much. He didn't want to meet him and all that shit. He was happy just to say, yeah, that's the story. This is the story. This is how it went down, and that's it. He'd actually left the force at this point because he'd had an accident, which was unrelated to the UFO thing. So he had his own business. So he wanted to keep himself out of the limelight, okay? Because again, with the ridicule and the factor and all this, same today, and obviously worse back then. You start putting yourself around as this, you become a kook, and then your business is going to fail and all the rest of it.
You'll be loony. So do we know then actually what this came out, this craft, and what did it want? I mean, did it
well, it says that it was going to...
Conversations gone, or,
It says...
I come from the planet Splag, or...
Well, it wouldn't tell them any of that, would it? And it said that it was going to return in 2 days, okay? So both officers went back every day, same time, every day for 2 weeks. He never came back.
Right.
So...
It was broke down. Had to go for an MOT or something.
Well, that's it. You don't know. Again, to us, these craft are exotic, aren't they? But once you've got this technology, it'd be like seeing the first, I don't know, petrol-driven car or whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's fantastic. But now they're just commonplace, aren't they? Yeah. So you wouldn't find that exotic. But I think some of these craft that we see, we think, wow,
fantastic. But
I think a lot of these are just scout ships, and I think a lot of what we see is just basically probes. I don't mean anal probes. So we see a lot of them as well.
Yeah, especially abductions.
But I think a lot of them are probes like we send out. So they're probably not even manned.
You got the. I mean, I'll tell you what got me last week. I mean, I don't know what it is, mate. And then, I heard about it from Pete Wave, my friend. Yeah, I heard about the drones in Heathrow. They got the army in.
Gatwick.
It was Heathrow or Gatwick.
Gatwick, I think.
Gatwick, the Heathrow, I think. Anyway, one of them.
Gatwick.
Yeah, they actually put the army in. I think there's more there. More than drones. Something going on more than drones. But people put down to drones. I think something else was around that airport.
Yeah. For people who are not familiar with the story, essentially, was it one of the major airports in London anyway? Was the drones were sent up, which halted the aircraft takeoff, didn't it? So
absolutely. Well, they
it disrupted
the safety, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Disrupted quite a lot of air traffic. 2 people were arrested, but I think they were let go.
Why?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, if you've got drones operating in the area, you find 2 people who are operating drones. Well,
I mean, this is people's lives here. It's very you don't have anything flying, anything. I mean, very busy place that. There could certainly be more to it. I think there's more to it.
I think there could. There's always you got to always factor in the fact that people are just idiots and fucking just fly. Probably see an open patch of ground and think, this is a great place to fly a fucking drone.
Yeah, there's a big plane over there. Let's put it over there.
So you got that.
I don't think it'll call for the army.
You have to factor that in. Well, I think the army was sent in to shoot them down. I think probably. But this guy said you don't even need. Which I thought was fascinating. This guy said, you don't even need the army. All you need is an eagle, like a bird of prey.
Yeah.
And if it sees anything in the sky, in its territory, it goes up and takes it out, drone, whatever. Yeah. And that's all you need is a couple of birds of prey. With handlers, obviously, just keep them on staff. And if someone's flying a drone remember, it's restricted airspace. So anyone flying a drone in there, you just fly out.
Yeah.
But yes, there could be stupid people.
Yeah.
There could be protesters because obviously they're building a new runway and all the rest of it. And
yes, I heard about that. Yes,
so you're always going to get
more pollution, by the way.
Yeah, so you're always going to. I mean, you're always going to get protesters.
Of course you are.
And then you've got because you've had Beijing, you've had a couple of airports in America where UFOs have halted.
Yeah, so something's going on there, which I find very significant. And
I think the fact we haven't got any photographs of anything strange.
You won't have them anyway.
Well, I think the thing is the way that the news works now. It's not like the old days where you'd find out about something like this the day later.
Yeah,
you normally find this out within minutes. So I think if people were in that area, I know people are busy and all the rest of it, and they probably haven't got time to go take pictures of fucking drones or whatever. But assuming it was drones, But I think if there was anything significant there, and again, we're assuming that it's visible, right?
So we'll have to do a bit.
It might be visible on a radar, but not visible to the naked eye. But yeah, I don't know.
Possible, quite possible, mate.
But yeah, drones would do significant damage to a jet, though.
Well, yeah, it's not just that. It's obviously
You've seen a bird strike, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
On takeoff, and it fucking goes, fuck that shit.
Good night.
That's your worst. That's your thing. If you're flying, it's the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of the flight are the most dangerous times. If you're gonna die on a plane, it's the first 10 minutes or the last 10 minutes. So you go on this fucking 4-hour flight, and the last 10 minutes is
well, I'm afraid if you're gonna go, you're gonna go. Doesn't matter, mate. You can go out there tomorrow under a bus.
Well,
I do care, but
well, I do. Yeah, I mean, when that ticket's called, it's
you just go home.
Head to the counter.
You leave this college and go on to the next one. That's all you do.
Well, I hope you're right. Anyway, on that fucking bombshell, on that cheery note.
Yeah, cheery note.
Okay, so that's 2 strange UFO cases.
Yes, and some bits and bobs of me and Lee ranting and raving about. But
I think
we've come to the end of the show, but hey, I've enjoyed it, mate.
I mean, it is funny, like you say, that guy got down a ladder and shit like that. But then you got that, and then you got the girl going missing. So it is a bit of a mixed bag, innit? You don't know. Again, if you see a UFO, you don't know what you're going to get. Friend or foe.
The ladder might fall down. He might fall down and get up, or they try and close the doors, and they can't close the doors, so they get the jackhammer out, and you think there's nothing extraterrestrial about this craft.
I come back to that. I come back to the fact that to us, this guy's exotic, and he's powering this machine. He must be something important. And again, like you were saying before, why is he landing in front of 2 police? Why hasn't he gone to the authorities? Because this guy is just
he just landed for no.
He's just a janitor or something. This alien is just
something like a Monty Python, isn't it?
He's not.
It's a bag of shit.
Yeah, he's not.
This bag of shit. It's a basic ship.
Yeah, we always think that these craft are powered by these beings that are part of their military or their whatever. But they're not. They're just everyday Joe Bloggs who's just took the wrong turn and landed in.
He could be the janitor
Gaffney.
that took the ship for a ride. He thought, I'll take it. And he's just landed, see where he was, and he thought, oh shit, the police.
Yeah. So
keep my mouth shut. Don't say anything.
I'll get out
the game
and
away. Just don't laugh. Get back up the ladder.
Get out and say something stupid to him. I'll be back in 2 days.
Back in 2 days.
He's got no intention of coming back, but they won't know, and they'll be there. Anyway, the point is,
you got your licence, you got your MOT certificate.
So before we go, just wanted to ask for reviews. If if you're able to,
please
leave a review on iTunes or whatever it's called now, Apple Podcast. And star reviews are great. But if you can leave a written review, that's
even more better.
Yeah, that's loads more important for us. So, if you wouldn't mind, if you've got some free times and you can just do that, obviously it doesn't take very long, but it does take time. I know that. So if you can do that,
reviews, please, they help us so much. They really do.
Absolutely. We just want to say, obviously with the new year coming up, we want to say a big thank you to everybody that's helped us out this year, and hopefully. We'll carry on into next year and
hopefully
get better.
But I said we have got one of our first guests on after the new year. It'll be around just after the first week-ish of January. This lady's coming on, and I'm not going to give the game away because she's a great lady, and you're going to love her. She's going to be fantastic. So we'll 2019, we want the show to kick on, don't we, Lee? We want to kick on and get other people on and hopefully open up people's minds. If you've got any stories, if you've got any sightings, hey, drop us a line.
Well, I am actually I'm on the Hangout now on our Facebook page or group, whatever it is. I've got a few people there who are sending me stories, like pre-recorded ones. And then I've got a couple of people on there we're actually going to speak to. But what I'm thinking is maybe we'll have like a little section on the show where it's like, we'll just call it like My Weirdest Story or some shit.
Yeah.
And then it's just going to be people's weird stories that have happened to them. Not necessarily paranormal, although obviously we'll get a few of them.
Yeah.
But just weird things that have happened and like coincidences and that sort of shit. So we'll just call it like My Weird Story section or something. And we'll so if you've got a story that's strange, it doesn't have to be paranormal necessarily. If it is, that's great.
Even better.
And if you want to send that to us, you can pre-record it yourself, or we can arrange a time where we can get on Skype or some shit, or even Messenger. If you're on Facebook, we can.
Even better.
I think we can record over Messenger.
Yeah, we can do Messenger. Yeah,
it's a bit more fiddly, but I think we can do it. And obviously, going forward, we'll try and put them on the show. I think that'll be quite interesting. So the ones that I've got now are very different from each other. So it should be good. But that being said, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you all.
Don't get too drunk.
Because I will.
Yeah.
Ish.
And we will see you on the other side.
Goodbye for now.
Well, they've gone. No, just for now. It wasn't the right time for us to meet. But there'll be other nights, other stars for us to watch. They'll be back.